Lisa, and I'd like to welcome you to Miss Lisa's Learning Hub. And today we're going to continue our conversation about adverbs, particularly comparison with adverbs. Last week when we talked about comparative and superlative form of adverbs, we talked about one-syllable words, like the word pretty. And when we wanted to make it comparative, we just added er to the end and made it prettier. And when we wanted to make it superlative, we added est to the end, making it prettiest. When we have words that are two or more syllables, we can't do that. We have to have a specialized prefix onto the word before we can make it superlative or comparative. So if we're making it positive, meaning a good thing, we would say it's more, and then superlative would be most. If it's more negative, we would say less or least. So with the word beautiful, when we're going to compare two or more, it's two rather, no more, just two, more beautiful, three or more, most beautiful, and that's in the positive. If it's more negative, we would say it's less important, and if we have three or more, least important. All right, let's try. All right, here's our word, expensive. So let's make this in the negative. So we would have to say, if we're comparing two, it's going to be less expensive, and three or more, least expensive. All right, so we did a negative, let's do a positive. If we have careful, and we're going to do the comparative, we're going to have more careful. And then finally, most careful. All right. Now we have something that we like to call special forms. Special forms means the word just changes completely. So, well and bad are two words that are considered special forms. If we're having one person, they are well. If we have two, it's better. Three or more is best. If we have bad, same thing. With two, it's worse. With three or more, it's worst. Okay? All right, let's do some practice on well and bad. And I gave you the word that we're going to use in parentheses, so we're just going to have to use either the base word or the comparative form or the superlative form. So let's look at our sentences and see what would be the correct word to use. She sings very blank for her age. All right, our word is well. It's one person. She just sings very well for her age. So since it's only one person, we're not comparing anything. We're simply going to use the word well. All right, that team played blank than ours. Again, well. We have this team and we have our team. So we have two teams. So would we use well, better, or best? Comparing two, yes, we would use better. All right, for the last two, we're going to use forms of the word bad. So let's look at this. I think I scored blank on the last test. Okay, so this test, the last test. We have two. We're using bad. So which one are we going to use? Yes, if you said worse, you would be correct. You scored worse on this test. And finally, he performed the blank in the competition. So again, bad. In a competition, there's likely more than two people. So instead of saying bad or worse, we're going to say he performed the worst in the competition. All right, let's try some additional practice, but this time we're going to do some practices with our more, most, least, and less. All right. I'm going to circle the correct word. More or most people enjoy weekends than weekdays. Now what we're looking at is we're comparing people out there. What do you think? Think about what makes sense in the sentence. We're comparing groups of people. So we're going to say the word more. More people enjoy weekends than weekdays because it's the majority. This is the less or least expensive item in the shop. Now there's probably multiple items in the shop, so likely more than three. So yes, we're going to say the least expensive. All right, you try this one. That's the more or most beautiful view I've ever seen. Lots of views out there, so what do you think? Yes, I'm going to say the word most. That's correct. All right, try this one. She speaks more or most confidently in public now. How is she speaking compared to how she used to speak? So that's a comparison of two things. So she speaks, yes, more confidently in public. All right, this book is blank interesting than the one I read last week. So we got this book, that book. So, and I forgot to put the word in. So we're going to say it's more interesting than last week. All right, number 6. For these, we can choose either positive and say things like more or most, or the negative, less or least. Neither would be wrong because we don't have any options, so we can pick if we want it to be more positive or more negative. Of all the students, Mia studies the blank carefully. So it's Mia, other students. We're comparing two, so we can say Mia either studies more carefully or less carefully. Right, you try this one. I think she runs blank quickly than her brother. Her brother. Yes, so if you said more quickly or less quickly, you would be correct. And finally, that was the blank exciting movie I've ever seen. Have you seen more than 2 movies? Probably. So, again, we're comparing probably 3 or more. So, if you said either the least exciting or the most exciting movie you've ever seen, that would be correct. All right, guys, so remember, if we're comparing a 1-syllable word, we add ER or EST to the back of it to make it comparative or superlative. So pretty, prettier, prettiest. When there's more than 1 syllable, we have to either make it positive by adding more or most, or negative by adding least or less in front of the word to give it our comparisons. Special forms, we completely change the word around. All right. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.